Welcome back, coin enthusiasts. Today we're diving into the world of ultra-rare Jefferson nickels and dimes. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting, this video will give you the scoop on the top 10 rarest coins, their history, and their incredible value. So let's get started. 5 cents 1970. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. It was designed by Felix Schlag, who won a competition to design the coin, with his depiction of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia state, on the reverse. The 1970 Jefferson nickel continues this tradition, being part of a long-running series that's still in circulation today. By 1970, the Jefferson nickel had been a staple in American pockets for over 3 decades. However, this particular year has some interesting variations in mint marks that can significantly impact its value. The 1970 Jefferson nickel was produced in 3 different locations: Philadelphia no mint mark, Denver D mint mark, and San Francisco S mint mark. Each mint produced coins with slight differences, and these variations can make a big difference in value for collectors. For example, the San Francisco minted nickels, often referred to as proof coins, were struck with extra care, making them highly desirable for collectors. Proof coins from this year typically feature a mirror-like finish and are struck multiple times to bring out every detail. Now let's talk value. The value of a 1970 Jefferson nickel can vary widely depending on its condition and mint mark. Circulated coins from Philadelphia or Denver are generally only worth their face value, about 5 cents, unless they are in exceptionally good condition. Uncirculated coins, or those with a high grade like MS65 or higher, can fetch between $10 and $50. Proof coins from San Francisco, particularly those with a deep cameo effect, can be worth significantly more, sometimes ranging from $1 to $10 depending on their condition. One thing to keep an eye out for is any potential errors. Minting errors like a double die or off-center strike can drastically increase the value. These are rare, but they can turn an ordinary nickel into a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So how can you tell if your 1970 Jefferson nickel is valuable? Start by looking at the coin's overall condition. The fewer scratches and marks, the better. Next, check for the mint mark and see if you have a proof coin from San Francisco. Finally, inspect the coin for any unusual features that might indicate a mint error. If you think you've got a valuable coin, it might be worth getting it professionally graded. Grading can confirm the coin's condition and authenticity, which is crucial if you're planning to sell or auction it. The 1970 Jefferson nickel is a great example of how even everyday coins can have hidden value. Whether you're looking to add to your collection or just curious about what's in your pocket change, always take a closer look. You never know what treasures you might find. 5 cents 1995. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple in American currency since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, the Jefferson nickel features Thomas Jefferson, the 3rd president of the United States, on the obverse and his Virginia home, Monticello, on the reverse. Over the years, the design has seen some modifications, but the core elements remain the same, making it a timeless piece in American numismatics. Now let's zoom in on the 1995 Jefferson nickel. 1995 was a significant year for this coin series because it marked one of the final years before the introduction of the Westward Journey nickel series in 2004. In 1995, the U.S. Mint produced these nickels at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, which can be identified by the P or D mint marks respectively. The total mintage was quite high, with over 1.3 billion nickels struck at the Philadelphia Mint and over 1.1 billion at the Denver Mint. Despite the large mintage, there are still some interesting varieties and errors to look out for. Now let's talk value. A typical 1995 Jefferson nickel in circulated condition is usually worth its face value of 5 cents. However, in uncirculated or mint state conditions, especially those graded MS65 or higher, the value can increase significantly. For example, a 1995 P Jefferson nickel in MS65 condition can fetch around $15, while one in MS67 condition can go for upwards of $100. The 1995 D mint marked nickels are similarly valued, but here's where it gets really interesting: errors and varieties. Some of the most sought-after errors for the 1995 Jefferson nickel include off-center strikes, die cracks, and double die obverse errors. These errors can dramatically increase a coin's value depending on their severity and visibility. So what should you look for if you're checking your change or buying a roll of 1995 nickels? First, pay close attention to the mint marks P for Philadelphia and D for Denver. Then, examine the coin carefully under good lighting or with a magnifying glass to spot any errors or varieties. But if you find a 1995 Jefferson nickel in near perfect condition, it might be worth getting it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC to maximize its value. And remember, even if it's just worth face value, it's still a piece of American history in your pocket. 1 dime 2021 D. The Roosevelt dime was first minted in 1946 to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd president of the United States, who led the country through the Great Depression and World War II. His leadership and the creation of the March of Dimes campaign to combat polio made him a fitting figure to be commemorated on this small but significant coin. Fast forward to 2021. The Denver Mint produced over 1 billion Roosevelt dimes, making the 2021 D dime one of the most common dimes in circulation today. However, Don't let the high mintage fool you. There are some interesting aspects to consider. Composition: 91.67% copper, 8.33% nickel, diameter 17.91 mm, weight 2.27 grams, mint mark D for Denver. Now let's talk value. In general circulation, a 2021 D dime is worth its face value of 10 cents. However, the real value comes in high-grade coins. If you have a 2021 D dime in MS65 condition or higher, it could be worth around $2 to $5 depending on the market. Those in MS67 or higher could fetch $10 or more. MS65 $5, MS67 $10. Of course, prices fluctuate, so always check the latest coin value guides or consult a professional appraiser. B-roll graded dimes in protective cases, coin value guides. Errors can make modern coins like the 2021 D dime particularly valuable. Some error dimes might include misaligned dies, off-center strikes, or doubled dies. These errors can significantly increase the coin's value, sometimes reaching into the hundreds of dollars depending on the rarity and demand. One dime 2014p. The Roosevelt dime has been a staple of U.S. currency since 1946, following the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The dime was designed by John R. Sinak, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time. It was introduced to honor Roosevelt's legacy, particularly his efforts in founding the March of Dimes, which aimed to combat polio, a disease he personally battled. Since its introduction, the Roosevelt dime has undergone several design changes, but it has remained one of the most commonly circulated coins in the United States. The 2014 P dime is part of this ongoing tradition. Let's zoom in on the 2014 P Roosevelt dime. The P Mint mark indicates that this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the main facilities of the U.S. Mint. This dime is composed of a copper core with an outer layer made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it that familiar silver appearance. The obverse of the coin features the iconic profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt, while the reverse showcases a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength, respectively. In 2014, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 1.2 billion Roosevelt dimes. With such a high mintage, the 2014 P dime is relatively common, making it readily available for collectors and still frequently seen in everyday change. Now let's talk about value. In circulated condition, the 2014 P dime is typically worth its face value of 10 cents. However, if you have a coin in uncirculated or mint state, its value can be slightly higher. A 2014 P dime in MS65 condition, for example, might be worth around $1.50 to $3 depending on the demand among collectors. For those looking for something more valuable, keep an eye out for coins with errors or unique characteristics like off-center strikes or double dies. These error coins can fetch a premium, sometimes reaching values of $50 or more. If you want to start collecting or already have a 2014 P dime, it's essential to know how to identify its condition and preserve it properly. Look for key features like luster, sharpness of the strike, and any signs of wear or damage. To keep your dimes in the best possible condition, store them in a cool, dry place, ideally in a coin holder or album. Avoid handling coins with bare hands to prevent oils from your skin from tarnishing. 1963 Jefferson Nickel. Before we get into the value of the 1963 Jefferson Nickel, let's take a brief look at its history and design. The Jefferson Nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. It was designed by Felix Schlag, who won a design competition held by the U.S. Mint. His design features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse side and his famous home, Monticello, on the reverse. In 1963, the Jefferson Nickel was struck at two different mints, Philadelphia and Denver. The Philadelphia mint coins bear no mint mark, while those from Denver have a small D mint mark to the right of Monticello on the reverse side. Now, let's talk numbers. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 178 million Jefferson Nickels in 1963, while the Denver Mint produced over 276 million. That's a lot of nickels. However, not all 1963 nickels are created equal. Their rarity and value can vary depending on several factors, including the coin's condition, any errors, and the specific mint it came from. Most 1963 Jefferson Nickels you'll find are worth only their face value of 5 cents if they're in circulated condition. However, coins in higher grades can be worth significantly more. For example, a 1963 nickel in uncirculated condition graded MS65 by a professional grading service can be worth anywhere from $10 to $20. Another important factor in a coin's value is whether it has any errors. One notable error to look out for in the 1963 Jefferson Nickel is the double die variety, where parts of the design appear doubled. These error coins can fetch a higher price among collectors, sometimes reaching over $100 depending on the severity of the doubling in the coin's condition. So, is the 1963 Jefferson Nickel a good investment? Like many coins, its value can increase over time, especially for high-grade specimens or those with errors. However, it's always important to collect what you love, as the market can be unpredictable. One dime 2015 D. The Roosevelt dime has been a staple of American currency since 1946, introduced to honor the 32nd President of the United States, Franklin D. Roosevelt. His leadership during the Great Depression and World War II made a lasting impact on the nation, and the dime was chosen as a tribute partly due to his efforts in founding the March of Dimes, which aimed to combat polio, a disease Roosevelt himself struggled with. The design, created by John R. Sinnock, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time, features Roosevelt's profile on the obverse and a torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. Now let's fast forward to 2015. The D Mint mark on this dime indicates it was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the primary facilities of the U.S. Mint. Over 1.5 billion dimes were minted in Denver that year, making the 2015 D dime quite common in circulation. As with most modern dimes, the 2015 D is made of a clad composition comprising a core of pure copper with an outer layer of copper nickel. This gives the coin its distinctive silver-like appearance, though it contains no actual silver. Alright, let's talk value. Since the 2015 D Roosevelt dime is so common, it usually carries a value of just face value minus 10 cents, especially if it's in circulated condition. However, for those in uncirculated or near perfect condition, known as mint state coins, the value can go up slightly. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC with a grade of MS67 or higher can be valued between $1 and $2. Higher grades or those with unusual errors or variations can fetch more, but for most of us, the 2015 D dime is worth exactly what it says, minus 10 cents. Even though the 2015 D Roosevelt dime isn't a rare or highly valuable coin, it's still an important piece of our everyday currency. For collectors, it's a great example of modern minting and a reminder of Roosevelt's enduring legacy. If you come across one in your pocket change, take a moment to appreciate the history it represents. 1992 D Jefferson Nickel. Before we get into the details of the 1992 D, let's take a quick look at the history behind the Jefferson nickel. This 5-cent coin was first struck to replace the Buffalo nickel, and it was designed to honor Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. The reverse side of the coin features Jefferson's home, Monticello, which remains a powerful symbol of his legacy. Now let's fast forward to 1992. This year, the U.S. Mint produced over 389 million Jefferson Nickels at the Denver Mint, marked with a small D under the year on the obverse side. While 1992 was not a particularly notable year in terms of changes to the design or composition, the coins from this year have still garnered interest among collectors. The 1992 D Jefferson nickel is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, which has been the standard composition for nickel since 1946. The coin weighs 5 grams and has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. The Denver Mint is known for producing high-quality coins, but like any mint, some coins may have slight variations which can affect their value. Errors and varieties. When it comes to the 1992 D Jefferson nickel, there aren't any widely recognized major errors or varieties that collectors seek out. However, minor errors like off-center strikes, die cracks, or planchet flaws can occasionally be found, and these can increase the value of the coin depending on the severity and interest among collectors. Now, the question every collector wants to know: what's it worth? The value of a 1992 D Jefferson nickel largely depends on its condition. In circulated condition, these nickels are generally worth face value just 5 cents. However, in uncirculated or mint state conditions, they can fetch a bit more. For example, a 1992 D Jefferson nickel in MS65 condition, which is a high grade indicating a well-struck coin with minimal marks, can be worth around $1 to $5. While this might not seem like a lot, finding one in pristine condition can be a rewarding challenge for collectors. If you happen to find a 1992 D in an even higher grade, say MS67 or MS68, the value can increase significantly, sometimes reaching $50 or more at auction. It's also important to keep an eye on market trends. The value of coins can fluctuate based on collector demand, the overall economy, and even changes in precious metal prices. So there you have it, the full scoop on the 1992 D Jefferson nickel. While it may not be the most valuable coin in your collection, it's a fascinating piece of American history and a great example of the craftsmanship from the Denver Mint. Whether you're looking to add one to your collection or simply appreciate the history behind it, the 1992 D Jefferson nickel is definitely worth a closer look. One dime, 1999p. The Roosevelt dime has been a staple in American currency since its introduction in 1946. Named after President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the dime was first minted to commemorate his leadership and legacy, especially his efforts to combat polio through the March of Dimes campaign. Now let's focus on the 1999p Roosevelt dime. The P mint mark indicates that this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. In 1999, the Philadelphia Mint produced a staggering 2,562,550,000 dimes. Yes, over 2.5 billion dimes were minted, making it one of the more common dimes in circulation. Despite its high mintage, the 1999 P. Roosevelt dime is still an interesting coin for collectors. Why? Well, it's all about condition, errors, and variations. First, let's talk about condition. Coins are graded on a scale from poor P1 to perfect mint state MS70. For circulated 1999 P dimes, they typically hold their face value of 10 cents, but if you have an uncirculated or higher grade example, the value can increase. A mint state 65 MS65 dime, for instance, could be worth around $2 to $5 depending on the market. Now, what about errors? Error coins can significantly increase a dime's value. For example, a 1999 P. Roosevelt dime with a noticeable misstrike, double die, or an off-center error can fetch anywhere from $50 to over $100 depending on the rarity and severity of the error. Let's not forget about the full torch or full bands designation. This refers to the bands on the torch on the reverse side of the dime being fully struck and visible. Dimes with full bands and higher grades are highly sought after and can command a premium price, sometimes upwards of $20 to $50. So what should you be looking for in your 1999 P dimes? Pay close attention to the condition, any possible errors, and check for the full bands on the reverse side. Even though it's a common coin, the right combination of these factors can make it quite valuable. In summary, while the 1999 P. Roosevelt dime might seem like just another coin in your pocket, it holds a piece of history and potential value, especially for collectors. So next time you come across one, give it a closer look. You never know what hidden treasure you might have. 1983 Jefferson Nickel. The 1983 Jefferson Nickel is a part of the Jefferson Nickels series, which began in 1938. Designed by Felix Schlag, this nickel features Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, on the reverse. The design remained largely unchanged until 2004 when a series of commemorative designs were introduced. On the obverse side of the 1983 nickel, we see a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States. The inscription reads, "In God we trust liberty." In the year 1983, Jefferson's image has become iconic, symbolizing American values and the spirit of independence. Flip the coin over, and you'll see Monticello, Jefferson's historic estate. The reverse side also features nickel 5 cents e pluribus unum. This design reflects Jefferson's architectural achievements and his dedication to the American cause. Now let's talk about value. The 1983 Jefferson nickel is not considered rare, and in general circulation, it's worth its face value 5 cents. However, if you have a coin in mint condition or a special variety, it could be worth a bit more. Most 1983 nickels you come across will be in average condition, but those in uncirculated or gem quality might fetch a higher price. Additionally, collectors sometimes look for specific mint marks or minor variations in the coin's design, which could impact its value. If you're looking to add a 1983 Jefferson nickel to your collection, keep an eye out for well-preserved examples. Coins with minimal wear and tear, clear details, and a strong strike are always more desirable. And remember, the true value of any coin lies in the enjoyment and historical connection it provides to its owner. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that Thomas Jefferson himself had a deep appreciation for numismatics? Jefferson was known for his interest in coins and even had a collection of his own. 1967 one dime. First, let's start with the basics. The 1967 dime is a product of the United States Mint, featuring the iconic design by John R. Sinak. It's made of 91.67% silver and 8.33% copper, weighing in at 2.27 grams and measuring 17.91 millimeters in diameter. On the obverse, we have President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who has graced the dime since 1946. Sinak's design captures Roosevelt in profile with the word liberty above and the year 1967 below. You'll also spot "In God We Trust" and the mint mark, which in 1967 will either be a D for Denver or no mint mark for Philadelphia. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the reverse design featuring a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch. This design symbolizes freedom and peace. The word "one dime" is prominently displayed above. The year 1967 was a period of significant change. It was during the late 1960s, a time marked by social upheaval and cultural shifts. Interestingly, 1967 was also a transitional period for U.S. coinage, with the gradual phasing out of silver content in coins. This was part of a broader effort to cope with the rising costs of silver, leading up to the Coinage Act of 1965, which eliminated silver from most circulating coins. So what's the value of a 1967 dime? In general, these coins are not particularly rare or valuable in everyday circulated condition. Most 1967 dimes are worth their face value of 10 cents or slightly more if they're in higher grades. However, if you're lucky enough to find one in exceptional mint state, it might fetch a premium, especially if it's from a rare mint mark. In terms of silver value, the 1967 dime, containing approximately 0.0.072 ounces of silver, will have a value based on current silver prices. Keep in mind that silver prices fluctuate, so it's always a good idea to check the latest rates. For collectors, finding a 1967 dime in mint condition can be a rewarding experience. Be sure to handle your coins with care, using gloves to prevent tarnishing. Consider storing them in protective holders to preserve their condition. And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the 1967 dime. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, understanding the history and value of these coins adds a layer of appreciation to your collection. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and let us know in the comments if you have any questions or if there's another coin you'd like us to cover. Thanks for watching.